welcome back to another edition of Gary's Record Collection. We're going to do a little something different this time out. This year was the 50th anniversary of the Watkins Glen concert, July 1973. The Grateful Dead, the Allman Brothers Band, and the band. Big concert, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 hours, something hideously long like that. The Dead were on first, and then the Allmans, and then the band. Over the years, this concert is famous, although it's not like Woodstock famous, but it wanted to be Woodstock. It was going to be touted as like the big next Woodstock type of event. And apparently it was a great concert, but it just did not get the attention that the same attention level that Woodstock got, probably because there was no movie and there was no album put out of the festival. And so I'm listening to the good old Grateful Dead podcast not too long ago, and they do a 2-episode feature on the 50th anniversary of the Watkins Glen Festival. And it's a great podcast. It's like 3 hours, 4 hours long. If you're a Dead fan, you'd love it. It's very interesting. And one of the little nuggets that was on the podcast was that they talked about that there was no album release. I guess, like for the Dead, at least Jerry Garcia didn't think the performance was all that good. Something like along those lines. However, there was an album called Watkins Glen. And what it was a knockoff band called Kings Road, and they put out an album called Watkins Glen. And I've actually got 2 copies. So here it is. I got this off Discogs after I heard of it. This is actually a sealed copy of Watkins Glen. I got that for like super cheap. That's like, well, that's great and all. It's all sealed, but I still need like something to listen to. So I got another copy for like, $5 or whatever. This is interesting because on the back of this, the only place, by the way, it says Kings Road, it says right up at the top, it says Kings Road, let's see if we can get this. We can see it. Kings Road plays the heavy sounds of the Watkins Glen concert. Okay. Now, if you don't see that, if you miss that and you read the whole thing on the back, there's nothing to say that this is not the original artist. Like, let's see. It happened one hot and rainy night in late July, 600,000 kids. Some who were there proclaimed it another Woodstock with love, peace, and freedom from hassles. Others thought it was a ripoff, bad vibes, not all like the idyllic hour of Woodstock, so on and so forth. Ultimately, though, the sounds overcame the elements. A good time made of good music, good friends, and good memories. Watkins Glen. So you look at this and it's like, wow, this must be a compilation of the artists that were at Woodstock, the 3 artists, because here's like their great hits on here. Truckin', Uncle John's Band, Casey Jones, Cripple Creek, Stage Fright, The Wait, Statesboro Blues, Whipping Post, You Don't Love Me. Now, the thing is, I just got these albums not long ago. I haven't listened to them. I heard like a little snippet of Truckin' on the podcast, but I haven't listened to it. And I know a little bit of what's going to come up. But we're kind of going to listen to some of this stuff together. We'll only play 30-second snippets of each song. God knows who still owns the copyright. The best I could tell was Pickwick was sold to, I think it wound up in the hands of Polygram, who disbanded it. So I guess maybe Polygram still owns the rights to the tapes, if they still exist. I don't know. Maybe they went up in the Universal Fire back in 2007. If so, maybe that was a good thing. I don't know. So let's do it. This is the first song on side 1, Truckin'. Oh, applause. I'm going to stop right now. Hang on. So not only is it a cover band, this Kings Road, but they're dubbing in applause to make it sound like it's a live album. So right there, it's like they're trying really hard to make it sound like you were there.
Together
Where's Dallas? Oh man, they added 2 extra bars in there. It's like, well, it's not exactly the same. Also, if you listen, there's reverb in there that kind of gives it that live feeling. It's like it's not a dry studio recording. They tried to make it sound a little bit more live. I'm going to skip to the end of this because I have not heard the end of this, and I wonder if they just fade out and like double applause in there, or do they actually end the song on a beat, because that's how it really works in concert. Let's go back and listen. Nope, see, they're fading it down. They're fading down the studio portion of it and bringing in the applause. That never happens when you go to a concert. Oh, all right. Also, the audience, what's recorded, that sounds like it's an indoor venue too. It's not 600,000 people outside. Here's Uncle John's band. Feeling we're going to hear that guy with the whistle like on every single cut.
Days are the hardest days, don't you worry anymore. 'Cause when life looks like an easy street, there is danger at your door. Think this through with me. Let me know your mind. Oh, what I want to know.
I also wonder did they do this like in one take? Were they trying not to be perfect so it would further replicate the stage sound? Boy, I don't know. I could be fooled easily, apparently. We're going to skip to the end. Let's see if they do the same thing again with the applause. Yep. They're fading the song out and they're bringing the applause in. Oh, I don't know. That's something else, all right. This is now the third Dead song, Casey Jones. Now, I'm going to stop this real quick. If you're a Dead fan and you've listened to the Dead, just about 99.95995% of the time, they never went to the microphone and told you what they were going to sing. They just started playing it. They never did that. Even like Led Zeppelin would do that. It's like, here's a thing from our third album. It's called Since I've Been Loving You. And then they would play it. But the Dead never did that. They say, you know what? Hey, everybody, settle down. Here comes Scarlet Begonias. Never did that. So for them to say, hey, Casey Jones, and then they start playing it is just fantastically wrong.
Casey Jones, better watch your speed. Trouble ahead.
What kind of an accent are we going for here, by the way?
And you know that notion just crossed my mind. This old engine makes it on time. East Central Station about
this is... Oh boy, this is not the best, but you know, we're doing this to ourselves. Let's all remember that. All right, jump to the end.
And you know that notion just crossed my mind.
Oh, and where's the end? No, see, and you know that notion just crossed my mind. They all come back and sing that a cappella. Where is it? It's not there. Oh, all right. Let's get these 3 Grateful Dead cover versions out. And now it's going to be time for the band with Cripple Creek. Oh, I'm afraid.
Thank you. Now keep over this mountain, you know where I wanna go. Straight down the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico, to Lake Charles, Louisiana. There's a bitch girl I once knew, and she told me just to come on by if there's anything she can do. Up on Cripple Creek, she sends me if I swing a leak. She mends me, I don't have to speak. She defends me, a drunkard's dream, if I ever did see one. Good luck, Pat, and just
Let's see if I'm going to skip ahead. This is kind of terrible. We're going to see if they do the same thing at the end. Yep. Thank you, and then they fade.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then they fade the whole thing out. My goodness, this is quite something. Stage fright? I have it. I think everybody listening to this has it. Oh, and then they announced the song. Yeah. Oh, it feels like those tapes are just stretched or something. It's like variable speed. Ooh.
Something so much for what it is. They give this cowboy his fortune and fame. Since that day, he ain't been the same.
That sounds terrible, just like mechanically terrible.
Stage right. Just stand up there to give it all his might. He got caught.
Oh boy. Well, we're gonna skip to side 2. Maybe it'll do better with the weight.
Is this thing on?
Oh,
Shut up! Hey, wait.
talking to the audience like they're there.
I just need to find a place where I can lay my head. Well, mister, can you tell me where a man
Let's see if they do the harmony parts of this. I'm not holding out hope.
just grinned and shook my hand, you know it's all he said. Take a load, old Fanny. Take a load for free. Take a load, old Fanny. And you put the load right on me.
Okay, they gave it a shot. It wasn't super terrible. Probably wasn't the best, but it wasn't terrible.
I went looking for a place to hide.
Although I would say that, like, if you were trying to do that on stage live anyway, that's probably the hardest thing to do is harmonize with 600,000 people there, and the acoustics are probably not the best, but let's see. Well, let's skip to the next song. Now we're into the Allman Brothers set. This is going to be Statesboro Blues. Maybe they'll talk to the audience again. Oh, this is not good.
Wake up, mama, turn your lamp down. You got no love, baby. Turn up your job from your door. Woke up this morning, had the stage for blues.
I'm just trying to use that overdriven guitar to make it sound live. It's just not making it work. It's just not good. All right, we're skipping ahead. I wonder if it actually ends. Okay. Well, they bucked the trend on that and actually didn't fade out that song. Okay, well, that's not bad. All right, here we go. It's the whipping post. Oh. I don't know if we're going to survive this. I honestly don't.
I've been run down. I've been lied to. And I don't know why. I bet that we never let me out. Took all my money. She wrecked my new car, yeah. Now she's with one of my good time buddies, drinking in some cross town bar. Sometimes I feel. Sometimes I feel
All right, let's give it a shot.
like I've been tied, oh, to the wicked pole. Tied to the wicked pole. Tied to the wicked pole. Good Lord, I feel like I'm dying, yeah.
Oh boy. Well, it's a cover version, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Here's the good news. There's one more song called You Don't Love Me. Here we go. Let's go to it. By the way, before we start You Don't Love Me, by the way, whipping post on this was 2 minutes and 56 seconds long. About 30 less minutes than they were playing it in concert, I think. It's like 33, 35-minute versions. Yeah, 3 minutes is not going to cut it. All right, You Don't Love Me. Oof. And there was a little splice in the applause there, too.
Well, you don't love me, baby. You don't love me, yes, I know. Well, you don't love me, baby. You don't love me, yes, I know. But if you leave me, baby, don't you know you're gonna hurt me so?
There's that reverb again to give it that echo, that live sound. Oh boy, I don't know. This is the last song, so we're going to skip to the end to see if they have like kind of big grand finale or anything to round out this album. Here we go. Just what are they doing? They're fading the applause in like that. That's terrible. Oh, yeah. I don't know. A lot of good things came out of Watkins Glen. This wasn't one of them. I mean, look, I've got my Bog shirt on. This is from Watkins Glen. The Bog lives on. This is a shirt that I had back in the 70s. And I just loved it because it was like, all right, there's a school bus on fire. I thought that was pretty cool. But this t-shirt is better than this album. It's terrible. So Kings Road, this group, right, on Pickwick. Apparently Pickwick and Kings Road were quite prolific in the 70s. because they had a whole bunch of cover albums, and like I have a couple more here. These are a couple of them. These are like the super hits, they call them. And then they have, you look like, oh man, look at all those hits on there. Oh, there's Horse with No Name, and there's, Tumbling Dice, and that is like, yeah, I'm kind of afraid to listen to these because they're going to be terrible. Here's like another one. Let's see, what do we got on here? Dancing in the Moonlight? No, I don't know. You're So Vain? I don't know. So yeah, these guys, well, they made money because all these records were out in record stores and they were discount records. They were cheap. So like I was reading an article about Pickwick, and it was like the guy said, it was like, these are the albums for like, when let's say he said you were, I was a Star Wars fan, and it was like, I wanted the Star Wars soundtrack. So my mom went to the store and bought the first album that said Star Wars on it. Well, it may have been, and they said it was the Miko version of it. It's like, there were a whole bunch of knockoffs and not the original. And so you go into the store, it's like, look at this album. This is great. It's got, 15 hits all on one album. This is great. And you missed that fine print that says by Kings Road, the fabulous Kings Road Band. It's just like this Watkins Glen album. It has a little bit of Kings Road on the front, but it's basically, it's not telling you, or it's hiding the fact that it's like, hey, you know what? This is not the Grateful Dead. This is not the Allman Brothers Band. This is not the band. But buy this record anyway at a discount. So they, probably sold it for a couple of bucks. And people picked it up and it's like, oh my God, this is great. We're getting the Watkins Glen concert. We're getting songs from there. I couldn't go, so this is this next best thing. It wasn't the next best thing. Yeah, so I don't know what to tell you. But on the other hand, I will say that like these knockoff albums, I have a lot of them from the 60s because of Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. So I've got a lot of them. And they tried because it was huge. The brass were popular. So these knockoffs would come out. They would get, if they got onto the record store shelves, they would get bought because they were right there. It's like, oh, the Mexicali Brass looks like the Tijuana Brass, and I don't remember the difference. So this must be a new album. And here's Watkins Glen. Oh, it's the new album from the Watkins Glen Festival. I need to buy it. So, I mean, they had a business model. It wasn't the best for music lovers, but they did sell a lot of albums. So, well, I got two of them, but I got them used. So somebody else got the money. So there you go. Watkins Glen, Kings Road, 1973. Let's never speak of this again, shall we? I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time on Gary's Record Collection.